All right, folks, it's Frank Fallico of the Fallico Group, and today I am here with the beautiful and wonderful Natalie, president and founder of Zilli Home Interiors. Now, a lot of people are gonna ask me, okay, Frank, you're a realtor. What are you even doing here? Why are we here? And I'm just gonna start this segment with this. I was always told that when you put yourself in an environment, it changes the way you feel. And my father once said, once you know the power of your words, you don't just say anything. And once you know the power of your energy, you're not just gonna be anywhere. And real estate has taught me, based on how you live, you're not just gonna decorate your room anyhow, anyway. So the reason why I'm here personally and letting folks know is my experience at Zilli, and I've been in a lot of furniture stores, was from the get-go incredible. I love the staff, I love the energy. And when I got to meet the person behind it all, I thought, what a great way of introducing our world to your world and figuring out how those synergies can work with each other. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you got into this incredible thing that we call, I mean, I don't want to call it a furniture store because it's so much more than that. Maybe you can kind of share your feelings on that.
So I love how you started talking about the environment you're immersed in is how we feel, and you're absolutely right. Zilli Home Interiors is not just a furniture store. Yes, we sell home furnishings to furnish people's homes, but more importantly, we try to provide an experience, and that's done with what you touch, what you feel, what you smell, what you see, who you talk with, and how we make you feel when you come into our home, or when you come into our store, and ultimately in your home.
Well, yeah, and I can tell you, the reason why this conversation is important, the amount of times our team goes into a home and says, hey, can you help us stage the place? And we often use furniture from Zilli that we've acquired over time. I can't tell you how many times people said, oh my God, to their husband or to their wife, we should have done this years ago. And then they don't even want to sell the house. And we haven't done anything to the home. We just brought in incredible pieces that speak to the home. And I'm sure you get that on a daily basis. Can you maybe share like your experience of how people are when they change their environment?
You know, in all fairness, it's really difficult. You buy a home, whether it be furnished or unfurnished. Let's say it's unfurnished and it's a blanket slate. It's so difficult to try to figure out how to make it your home and how to personalize it so it becomes a place that you look forward to going to at the end of the day. And it's so dependent on what you put in those rooms.
Yep.
Whether you want it to be warm and cozy or whether you want it to be elegant and refined. There are so many options, and we pride ourselves in making your idea, your dream come true by listening to the needs, listening to the family needs. Do you like to entertain? Do you like to be cozied up on your sectional? And then with that, provide you those options and give you many ideas to put into that home.
Well, I can tell you, and obviously in the new Insta world where people see a TV show and in like a few days or a few hours they see a complete renovation, I think sometimes people also underestimate what it takes to put a really great room together, given that, you know, it takes time, obviously, to acquire the right pieces. Maybe you can speak on that, on the anticipation of how people should be timing their purchase, not knowing that, hey, can I walk in and just get my whole room done in a day?
So those before and afters and takeovers of the homes are pretty cool. I love watching them too.
Yeah.
However, it requires a great deal of expertise, experience, the know-how, and understanding the needs like we talked about. So the takeovers are fun, and we love to do that in people's homes. We do that by providing 3D renderings, by showing you the different options in the room so you can actually visualize, depending on where your window is and where your door is. You have a fireplace, and then make that a reality. But yeah, we're here to make sure that our design consultants, who are interior designers, and can provide that expertise and make it as seamless as that takeover.
You just mentioned something, I know you said it quick, the consultants, the designers. I think people underestimate what that really means, because I gotta tell you, again, I've been in a lot of homes as a realtor. I use my eyes mostly as an observational tool. But when I spent time with your staff, the education I got through the process of understanding palettes, colors, and how they work, and them really just refining my own opinion of what I wanted the home to be, is almost like a tutor coming in and saying, hey, you want to get a great mark on this test, or you want to get a great home out of this. maybe you can talk a little bit about like how you get staff to be that way, because a lot of people, again, I walk into a lot of furniture stores, they want to sell you a piece, great, but your staff is like one step, and I'm not blowing smoke. Like, there's a reason why I always tell people I'm not going to recommend anything that I don't put in my own home. Your stuff is, my whole home was done for that reason, because I felt compelled and the energy of that. Maybe you can talk a little bit about what goes into that.
So yes, I mean, number one is they need the education to be interior designers and have the experience and knowledge on how to do space planning solutions. But it's also about personality and fit. And at Zilli Home, we all have a passion for home design more than just selling the sofa. We truly take pride in making sure that your home is a reflection of what you want. And that way, not only will you enjoy it, but then you'll also share that news with everybody. And we want you to come back for your children and your neighbors and continue that relationship. And that's more important than just selling you a quick thing today.
Which, funny enough, and I shouldn't use the word funny because it was like really a great piece of advice. My wife and I were like many people. We watch the shows, we get caught in a certain trend, and all of a sudden we come into a furniture store, an interior store, and we want to say, okay, we want all this. What was really amazing about the consultant that I was dealing with at Zilli was she was able to, I don't want to say influence me in a way, but she basically said, listen, Frank, in 4 or 5 years, you want this to be a classic look. And if we're mimicking everything that you just happen to be seeing right now on TV, it might wear off. And all of a sudden, you watch that show and, grays are in or whites are in or this, and not really understanding how a trend can affect you as a person and then in your home over a period of time. It's almost like, everyone likes the shiny new thing in the room and the trend. And maybe you could talk a little about how do you balance that? How do you balance like when people are walking in with all this trend stuff in their head and now you gotta stage your store to help them? How does that work for you?
Look, so we all get caught up in keeping up with what's happening on Instagram. And it's hard to not say, oh my God, I want that in my home too now. And I'm gonna go looking for it and I will climb every mountain to find it. And yes, and those are all great dreams. And yes, by all means, you should pursue that. But at the same time, there's also the realism of what is available, what is within our means, and what will be timeless, so you will enjoy it for many years. And so we try to make it all come together beautifully, so at the end of the day, you do have something that is a reflection of your style and function and look and still be happy.
Well, listen, we have a ton of synergies, not to kind of shift the conversation away from furniture, but we service Vaughan as you guys service Vaughan.
Proudly.
And I always talk with businesses to find out what made them want to service Vaughan and what continues to keep you wanting to service Vaughan. If there's anything personal, if there's anything that you'd like to share, because I'm passionate about. I raised my kids here, obviously, so I'm passionate about people that are in this community. How did you guys find yourself servicing Vaughan?
So we've been I've been in the Vaughan community since I was 8 years old. Have been in the family business of manufacturing furniture since 2000, and then decided to go to retail shortly afterwards. And being north of Toronto is great because you've got the beauty of downtown Toronto, but also to get away from downtown and have our own perfect town. We're now becoming a larger town/city.
That's right.
This is where we love to get all of our ethnic foods, great, vibrant people and community. So proud to be here.
Well, I mean, as you just indicated, Vaughan has been very multicultural. It didn't always start off that way, but it's become that way. And I'm curious, like when you're buying what you're buying for, does culture come into it for you? Like given like you're in a community that is multicultural, and obviously different cultures sometimes, not always, but sometimes have different palettes, different tastes, different ways of furnishings. Does that come into the psychology for you when you're buying, or you
Absolutely, and it's always evolving. When we first opened the store 16 years ago now, I really wanted it to be young and cool and very contemporary. And I soon found out shortly afterwards that our customer was a little bit more transitional than I had anticipated, and that we started doing more gold trims and diamonds and crystals and all the bling. Now that was 15, 16 years ago. And now things are changing again. And these very elegant, polished looks are less popular. And people are looking more for furniture that they can sit at the end of the day and really enjoy, put their feet up, and deep seating and a lot of creams, and therefore they're not as worried about getting things dirty because there's good protection on polyester fabrics. Like it's always evolving, but we're always looking at our customers' trends and needs, and of course what's happening outside of Vaughan and around the world and on the runways of Milan, et cetera.
Of course, and this is more of a curiosity thing for me. I mean, I know how it works in my own household where my wife dictates a lot of what the environment is like. And I can tell you in real estate, when we're often picking a home, it's uncanny on how much, the female energy of the relationship can dictate where they're moving, why they're moving, how they're moving. Yeah. And not to say that, there aren't husbands that are obviously involved in that, but I'm curious, do you find that that might be the same thing when you're putting homes together, rooms together? Like, is it a bit more female energy focused, or are you seeing more couples just working together on these ideas?
Well, frankly, all of our sales team and management here at Zilli Home are all female oriented.
Which we noticed. But
we cater to all needs. I mean, men come in here and we love catering to them as well, of course. Every customer is important. Is it more female oriented? No, I wouldn't call it more female oriented. Yes, the female might be the individual that's making a lot of the decisions, but she's making those decisions for the entire family. Children's dogs, cat, children, dog, cat. And so, no, it's not female slanted. We provide what that woman or male is looking for their home, for the entire family.
And listen, we get that too often where, maybe you have two very powerful personalities that have conflicting tastes. Yeah. And when we're trying to find...
There's a lot of mediation happening sometimes.
Okay, so you get the whole psychology of the business because...
You gotta make them both happy.
And I'm curious, when you're confronted with things of that nature, when let's say you have two folks or three folks about to furnish a home...
Get them a coffee, some snacks, and some water, and everything just goes down. I'd love to give them Prosecco too, but...
And you're able to get them to, let's say, find some synergies or like some harmony in that?
Of course, yeah. We talk to both of them, we understand their needs, and you figure it out.
Okay, yeah. All right. Okay, maybe we'll leave with this then, because people are always asking, where do you feel the trend? I mean, we were talking about trends before. Do you feel that there's a trend that is coming that people should be focusing on as far as colors, styles, palettes, or like?
Look, I mean, that's a loaded question.
It's a loaded question, okay.
And it's, like I said, it's always changing. Right now, people are trending towards homes that they can live in and enjoy. It's about functionality, hosting, entertaining, and living life. And so we will always continue to make sure we provide furniture that will suit those needs.
Well, I know this is the first chat that we're having, but the team and I thought that would be a very powerful thing that we check in maybe once every few months on exactly those things, trends, styles, and look forward. The Fallico Group is going to be doing a lot of events with Zilli Home Interiors in the future. I can't say enough. Thank you for showing the hospitality of even allowing our team in here.
Of course.
And seeing your smile makes it all worthwhile. So, Natalie.
Thank you.
We always appreciate you.
Thank you.
The Fallico Group, changing lives one home at a time.